Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson, and have we got a great guest for you this evening? Isn't that right, Dennis?
Oh, the very best.
You can't beat this particular guest that we have. We are so proud to have Governor Lamont here with us. Welcome to Let's Talk About It, Governor.
Sue, Dennis, great to see you. Good voice for radio, Sue.
Oh, well, thank you, Governor. You have a good voice for radio, too. And I am just so pleased that you're here in Windham and that you've been to Generations.
We've been to Generations. You know why? We won a really significant rural health grant, thanks to HHS down in Washington. I don't say that all the time. But, we got about $150 million, and we could get that for each of the next 5 years. It's going to mean we can bring mobile right to people's homes for remote diagnostics, making a really big difference. What we do for Day Kimball, keep them, make sure they can provide service for people who often can't get around.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for thinking of our Generations here in Windham. Of course, as you know, Governor, it's regional. So, and we're in a, very kind of rural area. We're designated as rural here. So Windham Hospital is rural, Generations is rural, and covering a lot of area. And you and I both know, and so does Dennis, that the Generations provides a sliding scale for people. So if you can't afford a full cost, you can go to Generations, and they go according to your income.
Look, thank you, Generations. Look, you and I working together, we're getting a handle on our budget, getting a handle on the pensions, but it's healthcare costs that are really getting expensive. They're breaking the budget of small businesses and families, not just the state. So I want to say thanks to Generations, what they're doing to make sure that healthcare is affordable for people. It doesn't work to have the greatest health care in the country if you can't afford it. That's what we're trying to do.
That is so true, Governor. And one of the other things I want to thank you for, and my colleagues in the legislature, is for coming up with funding so that we can continue to subsidize the Affordable Care Act, because a lot of those subsidies were removed. And so now we have people who can continue their health care with a subsidy under the Affordable Care Act, which is not Medicaid, but it is something that a lot of people have. And a lot of people aren't familiar with the fact that that's the Affordable Care Act, or Access Healthcare Connecticut.
Yeah, these are folks who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford health care. Maybe they work on their own or a very small group. And as you know, they were about to end the subsidies. That would have driven up health care costs for folks by $1,000, $2,000 a month. So working with you, Susan, we were able to set aside some money, keep most of those subsidies in place. I'll tell you something interesting. People are dropping off the exchange all over the country, but not in Connecticut. We have more people insured than we had before.
I saw that. More people are signing up for the health care there. And so when people aren't eligible for Medicaid, or they're too young for Medicare or not disabled, then they can go to the Affordable Care Act and get that subsidy. And so I'm very, very, very pleased to see that, and that we were able to do that. Now, there's some other things that you've done that have been great. But you've been to Eastern Connecticut State University as well today.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm talked to the students there. I do this wherever I can. I go maybe do an event like you and I did, and then we go on to Eastern, hear from the students, see what they have to say. Just the other day, I did the same thing, in Waterbury. It's fascinating to hear what's on people's minds and talk to the kids. And also, tell them you're safe in Connecticut. You're safe in Connecticut. We've got your back. I know there's a lot of noise coming out of Washington, D.C. Come to school. We missed you there.
I love that. And I love the fact that we've increased access to education with the scholarship programs. And we have programs for our students, early college opportunity in high school. And also our community colleges provide free tuition in some circumstances.
So we doubled down on dual enrollment. So some of those students, while in high school, can start getting some college credits. Makes college less expensive. As you pointed out, Sue, we've got debt-free community college. So don't let costs be an impediment. If that's where you want to go, we're there to make sure it's supportable for you. And/or workforce, free workforce training programs. I want the Connecticut to be a state of opportunity where young people know I want to stick around.
Absolutely, and that's why we are all sticking around to make sure we are a state of opportunity. We have some of the best educational places in the country, in the world, for people to attend college or get other types of degrees. And so, that we're very, very excited about that. And I want to thank you for one other thing from last year. That was Senate Bill 4. I had a lot to do with helping create with Representative Winter the geothermal portion of that. And geothermal is something that I've been very, very excited about. And because we have that and we're working hard on that, we have builders on Main Street who are interested in doing geothermal. And geothermal, of course, as we like to say, also has continues to have the federal tax credits. So people.
And by the way, with the war in Iran and tariffs and the price of heating your home going through the roof, this helps. What do you say, Dennis?
What I want to say is you mentioned workforce, and that is such a important thing to us here in Eastern Connecticut. And I want to thank you so much. I know you worked very hard with Kathy Austin and with the workforce committee that you set up for the to set up the manufacturing pipeline here in Eastern Connecticut to get people ready for jobs at Electric Boat and a lot of other industries in Eastern Connecticut. That is such an important addition to our region, and I want to thank you for that.
No, I love working with Kathy. Here's the deal. Electric Boat hiring 8,000 people this year. I want these to be Connecticut people. It's a good paying job, and you can earn $100,000 right out of high school, for example, depending on the skills that you pick up, say laser welding. That's what we're working on.
That's a great paying job, $100,000 for somebody coming out of high school. And that is happening, and we're hearing about it all the time. And we're very close to Senator Austin. We keep in touch with her regularly. She's appeared on our show so many times, and we love what she's done in combination with you and your administration here in Eastern Connecticut, and we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I just want to also mention something that we've just done, and that is to create an interesting combination with UConn Medical Center of combining Waterbury Hospital, Day Kimball Hospital, and Bristol Hospital, and a joint effort for a public nonprofit combination. And, I'm very, very pleased to see that. It's saving access to health care for people all throughout the state that might otherwise have lost it. And so when we take a look at what had happened with the private equity investment in those places, we are now in a place where we're going to see, actual costs and be able to continue to provide excellent health care through the University of Connecticut and now these hospitals as well. So thank you so much for that work, Governor.
The other thing we're doing there is nurse training. It's not just laser welders and EB. We have a desperate need for nurses. A lot of folks are retiring out. If you want to expand healthcare, make it more affordable, we need more nurses. I can guarantee you a job. You get those skills, we can guarantee you a job.
And you were here last spring, I think it was, or the fall, to celebrate the fact that Windham Hospital has joined with Eastern Connecticut State University with that nursing program, which is an excellent program, and it teaches the new nurses all about how to use the new mechanical equipment that, for lack of a better word.
No, that's part of what we're doing with the Rural Health Grant, which is what we were talking about the other day. Making sure seniors, folks my age, know how to use it for remote diagnostics and everything else. I mean, more and more healthcare is going to be remote, and then we're bringing visiting nurses as needed to supplement. That's all what the grant was about.
Mm-hmm. Well, having people here and being able to do the visiting nurses program with that grant is very, very important. I don't want to go too far back in the day, but back in the 90s, there was a change in how home care was funded, and it went to capitated systems. And so now, with this particular grant, this helps expand access to health care in the home, which has been a goal of the state for a long time.
All right. Don't scare everybody away by talking about capitated health systems. How about the UConn Huskies, guys?
All right, go Huskies.
I mean, we got the Big East tournament. That's going to set the stage for what we're doing with the NCAA. Both teams are looking so good. Women just completed an undefeated season. Nice going team. And the men had the biggest win over St. John's. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah,
big win.
Yeah, they blew them out after losing in New York City.
Yeah, that
really,
was fun.
Of course, we're really proud of UConn. I'm a double UConn graduate. UConn 1969 undergrad and 72 law school, and I'm UC all the way. I'm blue and white. And, that's what brought me to Eastern Connecticut.
So 1969, there were some Vietnam protests around there. Were you active?
Yes, I was. That was after I got out of the Army. I was in the Army from 64 to 66, and after I got out, I hit the campus in 66, in fall of 66, and graduated in 3 years. And I love UConn, and I tell Tommy Ritter all the time how much I love UConn. It's fantastic. And it's back in the day, those are back in the days of the Yankee Conference. But now it's so different now. But it's still UConn, and it's all the way. And we're very proud of it here. And we have Wayne Norman right in the building here, who's Mr. UConn. He does the color on the UConn broadcast, and he's been doing it for so long. Great guy and a good friend of yours, Ned.
I love Wayne. I hope he's getting ready to go to Indianapolis and the Phoenix, where the men and the women hopefully make it in the Final Four and beyond.
That's going to happen. I think we're going to have another year like that. Maybe dual championships. Looking good.
It's time for celebration, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're
I'll celebrate in a month, but I hear you.
we're very proud residents of Eastern Connecticut. We love the fact that you appear here so often. I remember you came here for my birthday party when I turned 75, and right after that, you went to the Shmoo stage and played the piano. That was one of the greatest days we've had here in Wyndham. That was wonderful.
That was so much fun.
It was. Yeah.
I play 6 songs, but you hear them a lot, but I love it. My favorite is Imagine by John Lennon.
Yeah,
I think we probably tried that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But I love Eastern Connecticut. I love the spirit here. I love this town.
Yeah.
Oh, Willimantic, the Boombox Parade. I'll see you here in, 4 months? I can't wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
Well,
getting
we'll be
ready for
looking
the
forward
200. We're getting ready for the 250th anniversary to celebrate, the Declaration of Independence.
We're making a big deal out of the 250th.
Yes.
We've raised over $1 million privately. We're going to give grants out to towns and cities to come up with creative things.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we burn Benedict Arnold in effigy. Who knows? Over there in Groton, New London.
I'm not sure Norwich.
Got to be careful. Norwich.
Better watch that. Okay. He was a great general before he wasn't, by the way.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you know your Revolutionary War history. That's great. That's great. Connecticut is such a great state. I've lived here all my life, and one of the reasons I love it here is because we take care of our own here in Connecticut, and it's great having you in the governor's office, because that's what you've been doing. That fund that has been established by it was your initiative in the legislatures to make sure that people are taken care of if they lose their Medicaid or they lose their food programs. I mean, that's wonderful. That's not happening everywhere.
People were scared. Do you remember going back a few months, the SNAP benefits, that's food support for about 10% of our people? They're on, they're off, they're on, they're off.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it was like bread lines in the Great Depression. We finally, Susan and I, able to step in and say, we got your back.
Yeah.
We'll be able to make this. The feds finally came forward and replaced most of the SNAP benefits, so we're getting better.
Makes me proud to be in Connecticut and be part of this. This movement, and with of course, my wife is the one who's at the legislature. I'm not. I happen to show up there once in a while, but I used to go down and help Rafi Podolsky with advocacy when I was a legal aid lawyer, and so I'm pretty familiar with what goes on down there. And we've known Tom Ritter for a long time. Tom Ritter was a big
Keep sending your better half there, Dennis.
Yeah. Oh,
Susan
yeah,
is
yeah.
so well regarded. It's like when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. That's Susan.
Thank you so much, Governor. I really appreciate that. And
Well, when
people
Susan
listen
talks to
you,
me-
Governor, they really do.
When Susan talks to me, I listen. Believe me. One thing I like about her being down there representing us, and she does such a great job, as you know, is the fact that when she's down there, I'm in charge at home. I may be working. I still work from home, but
See, he's very honest.
I don't leave anything out. I'm not trying to hide the ball. But this is a wonderful day to have you here again, and you're here so often in Willimantic, Connecticut.
One of the other things I want to praise the governor for is your work on that bill to help with housing. And I think that we did a good job with that. And I really appreciated working with Representative Rojas. We had Representative Rojas on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about the bill and how we really have to make sure we have access to more health care in Connecticut, housing in Connecticut, because it's going to help with our economy. And people don't understand, I don't think that the lack of housing limits our access to businesses.
Susan, every business I talk to thinking about expanding or thinking about coming here asks me the same question. Will there be a place for our workers to live, workforce housing, right on Main Street? The deal we put together is you tell us where you want that housing to go, and we'll be there as your partner. It's sewer and water, school, whatever it might be, we're your partner. And I try to do things on a bipartisan basis. I was a little disappointed I didn't get any Republican legislators to support our bill, but I want you to know we got a lot of Republican mayors and first selectmen say thank you. We're taking the lead on this, and thank you for being our partner.
Yeah, and that is great. And I think the Republicans Republicans will realize once it starts to work that they've actually going to be more supportive of access to housing, because it will expand businesses, and we know that they all want to make sure businesses expand. And the other thing I want to thank you so much for is the work on the special education. I was on the Select Committee for Special Education, and we have included it in the Education Cost Sharing Grant, and we also have increased the amount of money for the municipalities, and this is totally bipartisan, in the excess cost grant. So that's really fabulous, and your support in that area is so very important. And it's important because the students with disabilities need to have that extra help so that they can be functional and get into the workforce and do work. And so many are so smart, it's just that they haven't had the correct amount of support in the school system.
No, thank you for taking the lead on that. No, we've doubled the amount of support we're providing for special ed, but I'll tell you, the need is growing dramatically too. It's probably 1/3 of the budget in, say, the Hartford Public School, and right here in Windham and Willimantic, you have a few kids that can be tough. So I've got this K through 12 commission. Maybe you know about it. One of the things we're going to pay special attention to is how can we take care of these kids, make sure they get the very best help. Maybe it should be a state responsibility, not a local responsibility, special ed.
I think that would be wonderful. I think that's a great way to look at it. Also, I think people say, well, how did that happen? I say, well, a couple of reasons it happened. One, we know more about how the brain works. And so we were able to diagnose a child that maybe is getting all C's, could be an A student, or a child that's not doing reading at all could actually learn to read with the right help. And so that is the kind of thing that, the last 20, 25 years, we've really been able to learn about how the brain works. And that has really been very, very important. The other thing that people forget is that back in the day, people that had behavioral, and special needs, they were put in the training school. They weren't in the community. And so those costs were shifted to the local municipalities, and people didn't really everybody was glad to get everybody in the community, but they didn't really consider how they were going to do that. And even when I chaired the Public Health Committee back in the day, we were looking to try and create more group homes, more access for community for the people with the special needs. So
I'll add that you and I put together the Early Childhood Endowment. It's a down payment on having a universal early childhood, universal pre-K. One of the reasons we did it because the kindergarten teacher said, I can really tell that child that comes from a really good pre-K program. They've been read to. They have a head start. Because often special ed is confused with kids who just fell behind at too early an age and have a hard time catching up. We're not going to let that happen.
That's right. And that's another thing we can teach the parents, and that's all about the brain development, because if you start interacting with those little ones right after they're born, their brains are going to be developing in a much quicker way, because those neurons are ready to go.
I love your commitment to preschool. I was a children's court judge in the probate court for 12 years, and I did most of the cases I had were involving children, and I was always urging parents, grandparents, whatever, get those kids into preschool because they get off to a flying start, and that I think that would take care of a lot of the problems that some kids have once they get into school.
Yeah, and it's
3-year-olds can learn. They can. And
don't tell me about affordability. If you're a young family,
That's right.
1 or 2 kids, look how expensive childcare can be.
Yeah,
we're taking care of that.
That's right. That's right. That's an effect of it, and it's really, really important. I remember your predecessor, Governor Malloy, was a big supporter of preschool as well. In fact, so this is wonderful that we've had 2 consecutive Democratic governors who have supported preschool for everybody, which is really important. And the one more thing I want to say is Windham is a town that accepts everybody and tries to help everybody. You know what? We're a microcosm of the state of Connecticut with you as governor. I really appreciate it.
I love this town.
Yes.
I'll be back. Boombox Parade,
All
Willie
right.
Brew, sitting outside. There's nothing better. Thank you, guys.
We'll look forward to it.
Thank you so
Definitely.
much, Governor.
We'll look forward to having you here.
Appreciate your work. Appreciate you coming in to be on WILI. Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson, and have we got some more great guests for you this evening? I am so pleased to have our town committee chairman, our councilman, our person who serves on the Water and the Sewer Commission. He does everything in town. Bill Sayers, welcome to the show. Plus,
Thank
he's got a radio show here on WILI. So we are very, very pleased to have you join us today.
Hey, he just baked an apple pie for his mom.
And he did
He
that
showed
too?
us a picture of it on his phone. That's impressive, Bill.
Well, you know,
I have never done that.
You know,
my mom is not with
I'd
us
like to
anymore.
take credit for it, but you know, anyways, the oven does the work.
Well,
Well,
no,
you know,
I've
wouldn't
made
even know
pies.
that. I'm not
You know.
a baker
He
or,
wouldn't.
or a
Dennis
butcher
wouldn't
or a
know.
candlestick maker.
I know.
Anyways,
Yeah. But anyway, so we're so pleased that you're here, Bill, because you've done so much for the town, and you continue to work so hard, and we're just pleased with all that work. I know that I was over at the Waterworks recently, and how's everything going over there? We'll do a little bit of catch up.
I got to tell you, I think we're doing great. We've won another award, as you're aware, and then we got this great proclamation from our state representative, which recognized the hard work of our employees over there. Yeah, we have a man at the door there. And you know, we're very, very fortunate that we have the staff and the crew that we have there, and they do amazing work.
They certainly do.
Amazing work.
The water tastes wonderful and is monitored all the time, and the new equipment that you've all put together to make sure that it's wonderfully clean and safe and great for our people. It's just a great thing that you do there. And also, you do work on the sewer authority as well.
Another very well run, very, very professionally managed facility where the town of Wyndham has to applaud the waterworks and the water pollution control guys, because they do absolutely amazing work. They do.
And of course, on the council, you all work so hard. We have such a very different, complicated form of government that you all have to work a little extra hard because of all the complexities here in Wyndham.
Well, it doesn't help that, you know, we have 2 taxing districts, as you're aware, and,
Yeah.
and you know, the budget is chopped into 3-4 different directions, and it's actually it's chopped into 5. If you-
6, according to the town manager. at
if
the
you
meeting,
if you
I
put
attended.
the if you put the water department, the sewer department,
Yep.
oh, I forgot the school.
That's right.
Then,
There we go.
Then the
That's
town
6.
council and your
Police
2
and fire,
taxing
yeah. Yeah.
districts. You know,
Yeah.
that creates you know. But we're fortunate in
Confusion.
that we have you know, we have great leadership on our town council, and you know, we have the mayor too. You know,
Thanks,
but
Bill.
you know,
Well, that's great.
no, we're fortunate to have Tom DeVivo, who leads the town council and keeps us in line. I know that he corrects me quite often, because I can get really off topic and very, very quickly.
Well, that's me. I thought are you duplicating me?
Yes, well, I you know, Susan, you and I can get going. We could hold a week-long conversation and never stop. So, you
I
know,
think we could. That's why we want you on the show there, Bill.
you know,
well, I gotta also welcome our guest, the mayor, Tom DeVivo. Welcome to the show, Tom. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and it's great to be here be on the air with Bill Sayers, right? You know,
Exactly.
And Dennis, and we have Dennis here who doesn't get to talk much.
Doesn't get to talk
He's a
much
quiet
about it.
one of this group. You know,
he's
People see
counting.
me on the
I will
street and they
say-
say that. They say, Dennis, why don't you talk more? You let Susan do so much talking and you don't talk much yourself.
And he counts all
This
the
is
words
going on
after
for
the
years.
show. He
People
counts
stop
the
on
words.
the
How
street.
many words?
I
does
think
he
we
he
should
had a
go
word
for-
counter.
I think we
he
should
had
go for a
word
2-hour show.
counter, you know?
That way, you have your hour, he has his hour, and you know.
Okay,
But we
well,
have so much great things happening, Tom. But this is budget season. I came in late, and I was walking in a little bit. So, did you talk about people we're trying to have people view this on virtually too if you can't make a meeting?
I haven't got there yet.
Yeah, but you know, we're really worried. I want the residents of the town of Wyndham to attend in person or watch us virtually, and you can join the town council or the board of finance. They're on the website. There's a link on the agendas, because I think, you know, we have tough choices.
yes, we
And
do.
we are virtual, and if you can watch them and see that we're making sausage, right? That's what we're doing, and it's not so easy. It's not pretty, but we're gonna get there, and you're gonna love the bolognese when we get done.
Well, I hope so.
Well,
Yeah,
I want to
hope
just
so.
say this. When I got to the Capitol and I saw like a town like Simsbury or a town like West Hartford, towns like Avon, all those towns, they got one police fire department, and then they got one town, one education department. Here we have multiple everything, even multiple educational opportunities, which is great in terms of the local boards of ed. We have magnet schools, 2 magnet schools. One is run by the town of Wyndham. The other one is run by EastCon. And these are additional things, including the fact that we are a low-income school, district, and so in that circumstance, we also have Alliance District money and regular education cost sharing money. So there are multiple things that go on with respect to education, with respect to the town being into multiple pieces. It's just a complicated place, and I didn't realize that when I served on the council back in the day. I was just like, oh, I represent the Wyndham part, Willimantic part, and oh yeah, there's the but I
Well-
did, and we looked at the budget, and the budget was not as complicated then as it is now because you have all these different opportunities for different types of funding. You have the way payment in lieu of taxes, which is increased, but it's analyzed in multiple different ways all the time.
Well, you're right. But one thing Bill mentioned, we do have we're the tale of two cities, right? The tale of two towns.
yes,
But the town council, the Board of Finance, actually, the Board of Finance doesn't deal with taxing districts. Like the Wilmette Taxing District does their own budget because they're responsible adults. And are you responsible adult, Dennis?
Yes,
Yes,
Willimantic
you are.
Taxing District does
And
their
I
own
think the
budget.
town council could do their own at some point in a charter change. But the first taxing district, which is the Wyndhams, it's Wyndham Center North, they're primarily charged with just the 3 volunteer fire departments. They raise some money to do a few other little things. They support the Wyndham Free Library and Bill, what's the name?
WYO.
WYO. And what's
They
the
have
what's
some
what's the other?
streetlights, too, don't they?
There's
they do
another
not.
library.
No,
They do not?
They
No,
do
they
not. What
soon
is
lost.
this? What is the library in South
They lost-
Wyndham?
Okay.
But they have a library in South Wyndham.
Yes, they do.
The South
Yes, they
Wyndham-
do. That's right.
the
Two
Wyndham-
libraries.
There's 2 libraries. They support those, but they really wouldn't need to. The town should actually, in my opinion, should be picking up youth sports. We should be picking up the libraries, have part of a library system. But we've had to cut our budget, and they seem to have some extra. But they're there primarily and we don't see their budget. We don't vote on their budget. No one. You have to be a Wyndham resident to vote. Live in the 3 Wyndhams. They do it themselves. It's a hand vote.
Yeah.
It's like a town. They don't have a town meeting. I guess what do you call it? It's a taxing district meeting.
Yeah,
But they invite people in, and you get to.
it's like a town meeting for them.
It's like a town meeting for them. They vote for their budget. I don't even know how much money they have.
Their
but-
budget is very small compared to the others.
Yeah, it's
Compared to
small.
even to the Willimantic Taxing District.
Yeah, but they have the
Particularly compared to
right.
Well, town of
because
Wyndham, too.
Town
but
of
anyway,
Wyndham.
but yeah,
That's
but
the
just
big
one
one.
of the things.
It's
that
$1 million budget though.
yeah,
Yeah, that was in the tax.
but the
Yes,
village.
but
That's the
We're looking
villages.
at
yeah.
a almost $22 million budget
Yeah.
There you go.
for the
Okay.
entire town.
But then you've got your separate for the police fire that are
Mm-hmm.
paid, and so that is police fire in Willimantic is paid. And how much is that, Dennis? About
13?
13 million. Okay.
Yeah, but I want to say this, to you, Susan. Without Susan in Hartford, it would be a harder task to have the money. You bring home a lot of money to this town, and as a state rep, as the mayor, and I'm sure Bill does as a council member, we're very appreciative of all the work you do in Hartford. I went up there the last week to try and ask for even more money for ECS, and like you're the go-to person. Everyone seemed to know you everywhere you went.
Well, that's my job, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
supposed to know me, and I'm supposed to know how it all works. And actually, I've spent
You
some
do.
time trying to figure it out, and I do know a lot about how it works now. And that's why I want to make sure that when I talk to people about our town, that we talk about all the complexities we have to deal with here and the state. And I'm trying to get now the information out to the people who are all over the state about the complexities in some of the places that serve the region like we do, that provide for homeless shelters, that have housing authorities that don't get any payment in lieu of taxes. So we have all these things we do for the region, and it's about time the regions and places like the regions of Hartford, the regions of Bridgeport, the regions of Waterbury, all these regions, they understand how we help them. Go ahead, Dennis.
I have the answer to that, but I won't get into it now because you told me that you were having these 2 guys on the air mainly to talk about how we lost a really important member of our town historically, Walter Polakevich, who they
Thank
both
you.
know
Yes.
and they both work with. And we don't have much time, but Walter passed away recently, and he was our first selectman for 10 years, and then our state representative for another 10. So he served our town very well for 20 years, and I had I think I probably managed just about all of his campaigns. I believe I did. I was town chair there for a while. And he ran for, before that, he ran for, his first election was with you, Susan.
That's
running
right.
for the Board of Selectmen. I believe Bill Sayers got elected that same time.
Yeah.
And Bill Sayers was on the Board of Selectmen as well.
Now, I had stepped down to prepare to run for registrar, and Susan took my spot.
Oh, is that right? Susan took your spot.
That's right.
That's
And I
how it all
took-
started.
Exactly, and I took Charlotte's spot.
That's right.
Charles Petros, yeah.
But Walter was a great man. He kind of got me started in politics.
Yep.
Sure, my family was involved in local politics, but
Oh, your father was.
I was.
definitely.
He was pushing this economic development group led by Dave Phillips, the late great Dave
Yep,
Phillips,
yep.
and they were dreaming and planning of the Frog Bridge, and it's beautiful. And at the same time, we did the Frog Bridge. We did some other downtown work. We had so there was a lot he did. He did the Frog Bridge. He really started the magnet school idea. It didn't get through. Was he there when we built the middle school?
Yes.
Middle
Yes,
school
the
was
middle
in
school.
what, 95, somewhere
94,
around there.
95,
Yeah.
95, yeah.
And he was just, I would say he was a mentor to me, and he really had some great. He had a vision. He had a vision with the mills. I mean, lots of people can sit back and do armchair
Armchair quarterback.
quarterbacking, but the mill. Where would the mill be without his vision? We wouldn't have the Textile Museum, which is a town asset. We own that, and it's a museum run by a group of volunteers, and we have the rest of the mill buildings. We have 560 on Main, 480 on Main. Those are housing components.
Well, in the letter I wrote to the editor, I'm
'cause-
sorry, to
was on
not to the
Facebook.
editor, to Facebook.
Yep.
After I learned of Walter's passing, I did mention that, during that period of time when Walter was first selectman and then mayor, there were two figures that really stood out in Wyndham politics, and they were Walter and John Lesko. There's no question.
No question.
They were, John served as mayor of the city of Willimantic. He served as first selectman. He served as state representative after he was first selectman. First selectman later. But I think those two guys, we were lucky to have them. They were strong leaders. They were both very popular, each in their own way. And I can remember with Walter. When Walter started, he was inexperienced in politics, but was very smart, very hardworking, and was very interested in being involved in local government and helping out the town. And as time went on, he gained knowledge and experience, and I had a lot of fun working with Walter. He had a big smile, and he was friendly. And when you're in politics, there's always somebody who doesn't, like you in particular. And he had a few detractors, but most people really liked Walter. And I can remember.
Bill and I have never met anyone that doesn't like us. Have we, Bill?
Well, that's
You
not
know,
why
I
that's
could
not
probably-
why I wear that
that's another
bulletproof
show.
vest to the
That's
town
another
council
show,
meetings,
guys.
But
That's another show.
But anyway.
But anyway, let me just finish up what I was going to say about Walter. I remember when I was running the campaigns, I didn't have to go out and knock on doors. I was the chairman. I was the chairman of the campaign and the party. And I would tell people, you get out there and you knock on doors, and don't come back until you've knocked on, so many doors, or you spend 2 hours knocking on doors. And I knocked on doors later on a little bit when I was a candidate. And it's not easy, but once you get started, it's not bad, because most people, one-to-one, talking to them face-to-face, are pretty nice. And it's nice to see them. But Walter used to go out there and, he had trouble getting started. But when he came back, he would say, "Dennis," he said, "they love me. They love me." I said, "Walter, go back out there and get some more of that love." I would send him back out to knock a few more doors. And he did. And people really liked him. And just one more thing. I went out with him door knocking when I ran for judge of probate. He was still running for state representative his last term. And we'd go up to a home, and they'd see Walter coming through the window, and you could hear the people inside saying, "It's Walter, it's Walter." And I'd say, "This is great. I'm going out with Walter, and people don't know me that well, and I'm getting the benefit of being with Walter." Because Walter was a friendly, popular guy, and that big smile was was special.
Yes, it was very
Your
special.
turn, Susan.
Oh, thank you, Dennis.
See, I don't talk much.
I would just want to say that Walter and I came in to the council at the same time, and the first thing that, right after we got sworn in, the first thing that happened was there was a town discussion about what to do with the Wyndham Energy Recovery Facility, and the people that were going to build it build the best possible opportunity for WRF were there, and they said now. They talked to me and Walter said, now, we want to change the gauge of steel. Which gauge do you want to put in the Wyndham Energy Recovery Facility? And Walter and I looked at each other, and Walter had a PhD in psychology, and I worked as an advocate for Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries. We said, we want to get an engineer to help us. And that's exactly
That's
what
smart.
we did. We got the previous engineer who was let go by the previous first selectman, Norman French, and we got Don Aubrey there to help us out, and we were able to create the best possible technology for the WRF. But that is a long gone story. And anyway, I served with Walter for those first two cycles, and then I went off to law school at night and worked full time. And people would say to me, "Gee, why aren't you still on the council?" I said, "I haven't even got time for lunch." Never mind.
Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing, and then
Yeah.
I'll shut up, and you guys can do all the rest of the
But
talking.
Walter shut WRF
Well,
down.
I want to say one more thing.
Well, I
One more thing,
I know
please.
that. Well, wait a minute. Let's just finish WRF.
Oh, thanks.
So WRF
okay.
is.
I'm just going to go home.
WRF is. Yeah, bye.
Whoa!
Whoa. This is typical. This is typical. This is how I get treated.
I just wanted to.
I wanted to
about,
praise you, three of you.
Looks like you were done.
I said that Lesko and Walter were the giants of our town
Yeah.
politically back then. I'm sitting here today, folks, even though they're not being very nice to me, especially the female here. I'm sitting here with the three giants of Wyndham politics today: Bill Sayers, Tom DeVivo, and Susan Johnson.
Oh,
You
I
guys
think-
are the leaders.
No, you're the leader.
giants.
You're the leader.
And you're doing a lot for our town. You're working very hard, and I love you and I respect you. And even though you sometimes don't want to hear me, but
No, we just
anyway,
wanna talk
I just
too,
want you to
honey.
know that you are the giants of our era.
So we'll
Well-
get back to Walter. You want to tell your story about Walter?
You
I
gonna
just
tell a
wanted-
story about
yeah.
Walter?
No,
or
you
I'll
can.
tell a story about
Yeah,
Walter.
Bill Sayers got
It's
a
not
story.
it's
Okay.
not the greatest story though. It was Walter and I going toe to toe over Kramer School, and his inaction to do anything about it. And even though we had a very, very heated conversation, we went to lunch afterwards. And that's the way he was. Of course, I ended up paying that day, as memory serves me. But that
He forgot his wallet.
no, I don't think his wife had given him his
That's right.
His allowance, yeah.
his allowance that day yet. So
No,
but that's the kind of guy he was. You could get right in his face and you could argue
Yeah.
with him, and as long as you were being respectful in that argument,
Yeah.
he would hold you. He would respect you for it. And so many times today we don't have that anymore. Tom and I can disagree, and we do.
That's true of you.
But-
both. That's
but
true
you know
of
what?
all of you too.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I don't hold it against him.
Yeah.
You know?
don't take
well,
it
I yelled
personally.
at you about
take
a
it
week
personally.
ago, and you brought it right up in public, though.
Yeah, that's
That
right. I did.
You told me to stay in my lane. I was
I
like,
wanted you to remember
I
that
didn't
you
tell
told
that
me
to
that.
the
Yes,
world.
you did.
I didn't say that to the world.
But it's the way it should be. I mean, it's only when we're talking about
would never do
the
that in
politics, we're talking about the law, we're talking about changes we want to make. Those are all issues. They're not personal.
That's
They're
right.
not, and I don't. And we really have to continuously teach people who are new to politics that hey, these things that you're doing, these are
Don't take
all.
it personally.
You know,
These
when
are
I
all
first-
issues. They
I-
are not anything
can't take it
that you
personally.
can take personally. In fact, I just want to say I always have an intern, and one of the things that comes up very often is they say, "I have this very strong feeling about this. So how would I deal with this if I were to run for office, for example?" I said, "It's okay to have strong feelings, but they're not personal. It is not about the person. It's about the issue."
Very well.
When I first met, I can't forget. I won't forget when I first met Walter, and he was at UConn,
Yeah.
and teaching at UConn.
That's right.
And got that car he drove. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We all go, how the hell does he make it up Spring Hill in that car?
I had
You know?
trouble about it back then with Sue's car.
You know, how does
thing,
that
yeah.
happen? You know, but it's just the kind of guy he was.
Yeah.
You know, nothing changed him.
Right, right. He still was a force and a force to take care of the town of Wyndham, take care of the people in Wyndham. We started serving in the late '80s when we lost our manufacturing from the American Thread in '83, and we actually had merged about the same time with Villages, and so we had a lot of different things to deal with that were brand new. And we came up with ideas like we need a parking garage, which we finally got. We need to have an arts and entertainment district, which we were still working on. I mean, we came up with ideas to bring Willimantic and Wyndham back, and we have been working on it ever since.
And we need a community center, and that was John Lesko's idea.
Yes.
And Walter was for it too, but John
Yes.
Lesko was the prime mover with that.
I remember I was on
Yep.
the council when he tried to do that, and then they put too much money in the budget because the actual analysis for the community center back then was only $4 million, and they had a budget referendum to get $20 million to get bond, and that of course would fail,
Lost, yeah.
and it lost. So but down the road when I got to the Capitol, I brought some money back, and you all did the rest, and you've done a great job and it's a beautiful community center, really. Thank
Okay,
you for
Mayor
that great
DeVivo.
work.
Well, I want
Stern.
to think about how he helped bring Mike Paulus along. Mike Paulus, he had just graduated college, I believe. He had a degree in political science, and he was brought on to be the administrative assistant to add professionalism. That's what Walter saw, is that the office of the first selectman needed the professionalism and needed someone, a real smart person, to help be his aide. And we're fortunate now we have Samara Capo, and she's doing a great job, but you have to have somebody be the assistant, and we didn't have an assistant before that. Dan Line didn't have an assistant.
No, I don't think so.
He had Nina Ricardes.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's
Oh,
true.
that's
That's
right.
right. You got that.
right.
You're right, but he brought in the right guy. Now Mike is a town manager himself.
Yes,
Mike has
yeah.
moved on.
Yeah.
Plainville?
We had Bob
Plainville.
Ty. Walter had brought in Bob
Bob
Ty
Ty.
as
Yeah,
the
that's
human
right.
resources officer.
Right.
You know, he had worked for American Thread and Brand Rex, I think, for years. So he did. He brought
That's
in a
a-
lot of professionalism.
That's a good point, because Walter was, I would consider Walter a liberal, left of center, not way out there.
No, I
But-
don't think
but-
he was that liberal.
No, I agree.
Well, he got along with everybody.
Yeah, he got
along
left,
with me,
right,
and I was
center.
fairly really liberal. And he got along with Victor Rahal and Armand Martineau.
Oh, God, some old names.
And Jake Lewis, and
Yeah.
those guys were they were not liberals, and they were not even that close to the center. But Walter got along with everybody from all over the spectrum, and that's a key factor in Walter Polakevich.
Yeah, and we will miss him.
Oh,
I have called him.
I missed him when he left town.
When I first became mayor, I called him. I wasn't even mayor yet. I was filling for Victor Funderburg.
Funderburg, yeah.
And I really called him a couple of times to get somebody,
Yep, get some advice. Yeah.
And he actually told me, stay out of town hall. But no, he was right, though. You guys should be on the street talking to people and not sitting around town hall all the time. So.
Susan's raising her hand. She's
Yeah.
looking at me to call on her. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I just
2
wanna
hours
say-
left.
2 hours, all right.
I just want to say that when I went to the Capitol and I told people at the Capitol about Walter passing, and I was able to review with everybody in the House our relationship and all the things he did for Wyndham. And
You
of
made a
course,
speech on the floor of the
yes,
House.
yes, I did, and it's actually on Facebook.
Yeah.
But in any event, it was really Speaker Matt Ritter was quite moved. His dad was the speaker when Walter served.
Tom Ritter.
Tom Ritter, and they were quite
Friendly.
they were touched by the fact that Walter was such a good person to work with at the Capitol, and they put the flag at half-staff. We got they sent a Connecticut flag over to the family. I got a citation from me and May, a memorial citation, and then all the leadership created a citation for the family as well.
Very nice.
So we were able to get that. I brought it right down as soon as I got it. I got it in a timely fashion where I could. It was on a Friday, so I got it down to the wake before the wake started, and I was able to get back for the radio show. All right, we're winding down to the last minute.
I just want to thank Bill Sayers and Tom DeVivo for spending some time with us talking about about a few things, local politics going on now, local government, but also about our good friend Walter Polakevich, who deserves, mention as a really important figure in the history of Wyndham government and everything. And it's I really appreciate you guys coming in, and I wish we had more time. We got a surprise visit from the governor, and
Yeah, it was surprising to see both the governor and the lieutenant governor in town on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
oh, I didn't.
Yeah, she was here.
She was
but
there
she
too?
was, yeah,
Yep.
she, oh, yeah,
Oh, my
we,
God,
'cause
Yes,
we-
because while you guys were having lunch with the governor, I was having lunch with the lieutenant governor.
Oh,
I didn't get to have lunch.
We didn't get to have lunch with him. We
No, we only.
And you know, I was sitting at Burger King, McDonald's.
We
all
had him
by
on
my
the.
lonesome,
we-
looking at my small coffee.
That is the statement of the show. That's the best statement I've heard. This is Dennis O'Brien. I'm here with Susan Johnson, my co-host, and Bill Sayers, the Democratic Party chairman, and Mayor Tom DeVivo. I thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week with another great guest and another great show.
Great
Thank
guest,
you.
great show with Lieutenant Governor Susan Bisowitz.
Right.